In the soft, fading light of a Tasmanian afternoon, a solitary figure paced. His name was Benjamin. He was the last of his kind, a Thylacine, living out his final days within the cold confines of the Hobart Zoo. Imagine, for a moment, his world, a concrete floor, steel bars, and the curious, fleeting faces of humans who came to gaze upon a living ghost. The air, thick with the scent of eucalyptus and the distant calls of other captive animals, was a constant, lonely reminder of the wild world he would never know. He was a creature of twilight, built for the hushed forests and open grasslands of his island home. His stripes, like shadowy brushstrokes on a canvas of tan fur, were meant for camouflage, not for display. In the zoo, they only served to highlight his otherness, his magnificent solitude. His days followed a quiet, unchanging rhythm, a meal of meth often tossed unceremoniously onto the floor. The clanging of gates as keepers came and went, the murmur of voices, a language he couldn't understand, discussing his fate, his uniqueness, his impending extinction. Did he feel loneliness? We can only speculate. But in the surviving black and white footage, there's a weariness in his eyes, a restless energy in his pacing. He moves with a purpose that has no destination. He yawns, revealing that incredible, wide gape of his jaws, a feature that once struck fear and awe in the wilderness. Now, it was just a strange spectacle, a biological curiosity for the paying public. We see him lying in the sun, a rare moment of stillness. Perhaps dreaming of a life his instincts screamed for but his reality denied. A life of hunting in the gloaming of a family, of a pack. His story is one of profound human regret. The Thylacine, or Tasmanian Tiger as it was commonly known, wasn't a victim of some great natural catastrophe. It was hunted systematically and relentlessly, with a government bounty on its head. Farmers and settlers saw it as a threat to their livestock, a pest to be eradicated. They were ruthlessly efficient. By the time they realized their mistake, by the time the scientific community and a few conscientious individuals began to sound the alarm, it was already too late. The wild population had dwindled to nothing. And so, all the weight of a species, all the genetic history of millennia, came to rest on the shoulders of this one captive male, Benjamin. He wasn't captured to be saved. He was captured to be exhibited. A living trophy of a war that humanity had waged against nature, and won. There was no female, no hope for a future. There was only the endless cycle of days, the changing of seasons outside his cage, and the slow, inevitable march toward the end. His keepers were not intentionally cruel, for the most part. They were products of their time. They provided food and a semblance of shelter. But they didn't understand what he truly needed. In one of the most tragic ironies of his existence, Benjamin's death was a result of simple, heartbreaking neglect. On the night of September 7th, 1936, a cold snap hit. He had been accidentally locked out of his sheltered sleeping quarters. Exposed to the freezing temperatures, the rain, and the wind, he succumbed to the elements. The last Thylacine on Earth died alone, on a cold concrete floor, from exposure. The very next day, the species was to be granted official protection by the Tasmanian government. The protection came 24 hours too late. There was nothing left to protect. When the zookeeper arrived that morning, he found the enclosure silent. The restless pacing had stopped. The living ghost was gone, and with him, an entire branch of the tree of life was severed forever. There was no ceremony, no grand farewell, just the quiet disposal of a body and the closing of a chapter in Earth's history. Today, Benjamin exists only in grainy footage and faded photographs. He is a symbol, a powerful, haunting reminder of our capacity for destruction and the fragility of the natural world. When we look at that film, we see more than just an extinct animal. We see a cautionary tale written in stripes and sorrow. We see the consequences of ignorance and greed. We see the quiet dignity of a creature trapped in a world that no longer had a place for him. His enclosure at the old Hobart Zoo is now a memorial. A plaque marks the spot where he lived and died. People visit, leaving flowers, standing in silent contemplation. It's a place of pilgrimage for those who mourn what we have lost. It's a space to reflect on our responsibility as stewards of this planet. The silence there is profound, filled with the echoes of his phantom pacing. Why does his story still resonate so deeply with us? so many decades later. Perhaps it's because his solitude mirrors a deep-seated human fear of being the last one, of being utterly alone. Or perhaps it's the sheer finality of it. Extinction is not just death. It is the death of birth itself. It is a void that can never be filled. The Thylacine's unique evolutionary path, its status as the largest carnivorous marsupial of modern times, its strange mix of canine and feline features, all of it vanished. We spend millions now searching for any sign that we were wrong, that a few might have survived in the remote wilderness of Tasmania. Trail cameras are set, expeditions are launched, and every blurry photo or strange footprint ignites a flurry of hope. We desperately want to undo what we have done. We want to believe in second chances, but the scientific consensus remains firm. The thylacine is gone. Our search is, perhaps, less for the animal itself, and more for a sense of redemption, a way to absolve ourselves of the guilt. The story of Benjamin is not just about the past. It's about the present. Right now, all over the world, countless other species stand on the same precipice the thylacine stood on a century ago. Their habitats are shrinking, their populations are dwindling, and they face threats from human activity. Each one is its own unique world, its own irreplaceable thread in the tapestry of life. Each one has its own potential, Benjamin waiting in the wings. What can we learn from his silent vigil? We can learn that rare is not a badge of honor. It is a cry for help. We can learn that conservation cannot be an afterthought. It must be a priority. The casual disregard that led to Benjamin's lonely end has no place in our modern world, where we know so much more about the intricate web of life that sustains us all. Let us remember him not just as a tragedy, but as a teacher. Let his memory be a guiding light for our actions. When you hear of an endangered species, think of Benjamin pacing his enclosure. When you have the opportunity to support conservation efforts, to protect a wild space, to make a more sustainable choice, think of the cold concrete floor where he drew his last breath. His story is a debt that we can never truly repay. But we can honor his legacy by ensuring no other species has to walk that same lonely path to extinction. The ghost of the Tasmanian tiger still roams our collective conscience, and it is up to us to listen to what it has to say. Thank you for joining me in remembering him. In the quiet corners of our modern world, where satellites map every inch of the earth and smartphones capture every moment, you'd think there would be no room left for mystery. But what if I told you that the age of discovery isn't over? And out there, in the vast, silent wilderness, something ancient still roams, unseen by most, but not by all. For decades, whispers have turned into stories, and stories into legends. But today, the whispers are getting louder. From the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest to the misty mountains of the Himalayas, strange encounters are being reported with increasing frequency. These aren't just old tales told around a campfire. These are modern accounts from credible people hikers, hunters, even scientists who have seen something that shouldn't exist. They describe a towering, bipedal figure, covered in hair, moving with a silent grace that defies its size, something that watches from the edge of the tree line, leaving behind footprints too large to be human, too strange to be bare. Despite our technology, despite our urge to explain everything, this enigma persists. It's a powerful reminder that some secrets refuse to be solved, and that the world is still wild, still full of wonder. This enduring mystery isn't just about a creature. It's about the hope that there is still something more to find, a grand secret waiting in the shadows. It's a feeling that keeps us looking, listening, and wondering. What is it about this particular legend that captures our imagination so fiercely and refuses to let go, even in the 21st century? Let's journey back to 1958, Bluff Creek, California. A bulldozer operator named Jerry Cruz stumbles upon a set of enormous, human-like footprints pressed into the mud. The local paper dubs the unseen creature Bigfoot, and a modern legend is born. But the stories didn't start there. For centuries, indigenous peoples of North America have told stories of wild, hair-covered beings of the forest Sasquatch, the wild man of the woods. These weren't just monster tales. They were accounts of a reclusive, powerful being, a natural part of the wilderness. Fast forward to 1967, and we get the Patterson-Gimlin film. This shaky, 60-second clip of a large, fur-covered figure striding across a creek bed became the most iconic, and most debated piece of evidence ever captured. To this day, experts are divided. Some see a person in a costume. Others see a non-human primate, its muscles and gait impossible to fake. The accounts that followed were remarkably consistent. Witnesses often speak of a profound, unnerving silence just before a sighting. Then, a glimpse of movement in their peripheral vision. They describe a creature between 7 and 10 feet tall, with broad shoulders and long arms, covered in dark, matted hair. Its face is often described as more ape-like than human, with a low brow and deep-set eyes. But what truly stays with them is the feeling of being watched. An overwhelming sense of intelligence and awareness coming from the creature. Many report a pungent, musky odor, a mix of damp earth and something wild and unfamiliar. These aren't just fleeting glances. Some encounters last for several minutes, allowing for detailed observation. A common thread is the creature's apparent desire to avoid conflict, to simply observe and retreat back into the woods, leaving the witness with a story they know most people will never believe. Then there's the photographic evidence, a gallery of blurs and shadows. For every tantalizing image, there's a dozen skeptics ready to cry hoax or misidentification. A dark shape between trees becomes a bear. A grainy figure in the distance becomes a hiker in dark clothing, and they're often right. The human mind is excellent at seeing patterns, at turning a tree stump in the fading light into something more. The infamous blob squatch photos are a perfect example in distinct shapes that could be anything. Yet, amidst the noise, a few images stand out, resisting easy explanation. The Freeman footage, for example, or the Jacobs photos from Pennsylvania, which seem to show a primate-like creature peeking from behind a tree. These images fuel the debate, keeping the possibility alive. They are tantalizingly close to being proof, but never quite clear enough. This ambiguity is the heart of the mystery. It forces us to question what we see, what we believe, and what could be hiding just beyond the focus of our lenses. From a scientific standpoint, the lack of a body-type specimen is the biggest hurdle. As the saying goes, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And in biology, the ultimate evidence is a physical specimen. Without a body, a bone, or a strand of uncontaminated DNA, Bigfoot remains firmly in the realm of cryptozoology, a field many mainstream scientists dismiss as pseudoscience. The arguments against its existence are logical. A breeding population of such large animals would require a vast territory and a significant amount of food. They would surely leave more behind than just a few disputed footprints and blurry photos. We would find skeletons, nests, or definitive DNA evidence in the soil and water. The fact that we haven't, despite millions of hours spent searching by dedicated enthusiasts, is powerful evidence against their existence. Yet, some respected scientists are willing to keep an open mind. Dr. Grover Krantz, an anthropologist, and Dr. Jeff Mel, a professor of anatomy and anthropology, have both argued that the footprint casts show anatomical details like a flexible midfoot that would be incredibly difficult to fake and are inconsistent with a human foot. They propose that a creature like Gigantopithecus, a giant ape thought to have gone extinct hundreds of thousands of years ago, could have crossed the Bering Land Bridge and adapted to the forests of North America. They don't claim it's a certainty, but they argue that the evidence is compelling enough to warrant serious scientific investigation rather than outright dismissal. The debate rages on. Is it a case of mistaken identity and wishful thinking? Or are we failing to see a master of camouflage that has survived right under our noses? Beyond science and sightings, this creature occupies a huge space in our cultural memory. It represents the untamed frontier, a symbol of the wildness we have paved over and fenced in. In a world that feels increasingly controlled and predictable, the idea of a giant, unknown primate roaming free is a powerful, romantic notion. It taps into our collective unconscious, our primal memory of a time when the world was full of mystery, and humanity was not the undisputed master of the planet. We see this in movies, in books, on TV shows. Bigfoot has become a cultural icon, a friendly giant in some portrayals, a terrifying monster in others. It's a modern myth, but like all myths, it tells us something important about ourselves, about our relationship with nature, our fear of the unknown, and our deep-seated desire to believe in something bigger than our everyday lives. Think about it. Every time we venture into a national park or hike a remote trail, there's a tiny part of us that wonders. We listen a little more closely to the snap of a twig in the distance. We scan the tree line, half hoping, half fearing we'll see a dark shape move against the shadows. This is the creature's true power. It hasn't just left footprints in the mud, it has left a permanent footprint on our imagination. It keeps the spirit of exploration alive. It encourages us to look up from our screens and peer into the woods, to remember that we are guests in a world that is far older and more mysterious than we can comprehend. The forest is not just a collection of trees, it's a place of secrets. So, where does that leave us? With a collection of compelling stories, a handful of intriguing but inconclusive evidence, and a deep, unanswered question. Perhaps one day, a definitive discovery will be made. A clear video, an irrefutable DNA sample, or even a peaceful, live encounter that changes our understanding of the natural world forever. Or perhaps, the creature will remain what it has always been. A shadow in the forest, a whisper on the wind, a mystery that we are not meant to solve. Maybe its purpose isn't to be found, but to keep us searching. To remind us that the world is still vast, and that for all our knowledge, there are still wonders hidden in the dark, waiting for those who are willing to look. The truth is out there, perhaps walking silently through a misty forest at this very moment, leaving behind nothing but questions and a lingering sense of awe. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the heart of the mystery. If you enjoy exploring the unknown, make sure to like and subscribe for more adventures. Until next time, keep wondering. Take a deep, slow breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, and as you exhale, let go of the day. Let go of the noise, the hurry, the worries that cling to your thoughts. Allow yourself to be present, right here, in this quiet moment of reflection. Tonight, as we drift toward the gentle embrace of sleep, I want to take you on a journey back in time. Imagine a world untouched, a world where the magnificent Tasmanian tiger roamed freely through the ancient forests and misty highlands of Tasmania. Picture this creature, a marvel of evil. It wasn't a tiger, nor was it a wolf, but something entirely unique. A large, carnivorous marsupial with a stiff tail, powerful jaws, and a sandy, striped coat that camouflaged it perfectly against the dappled sunlight of the eucalyptus groves. It moved with a quiet grace, a silent hunter navigating its domain. Think of the crisp night air, the scent of damp earth and blooming wildflowers. Hear the distant call of a night bird, the rustle of leaves as a wallaby passes by. The thylacine was the apex predator here, a vital keystone in this delicate island ecosystem. Its presence maintained balance, shaping the very landscape it called home for millions of years. It was a symbol of wildness, of an untamed spirit that had endured ice ages and dramatic shifts in climate. Now, hold that image in your mind. The strength, the beauty, the wildness, and then feel the profound sense of loss as we acknowledge a difficult truth. We lost them. The last known thylacine, a lonely individual named Benjamin, died in a zoo in 1936. Just 2 months after the species was granted official protection, it was too late. The final curtain had fallen. How did this happen? How did humanity allow one of nature's most unique and beautiful predators to simply vanish from the face of the earth? The story is a familiar and tragic one. It's a story of misunderstanding, of fear, and of unchecked human expansion. When European settlers arrived in Tasmania, they saw the thylacine not as a wondrous part of a complex ecosystem, but as a threat. They labeled it a sheep killer, a pest to be eradicated. A bounty was placed on its head. Fear and misinformation spread like wildfire, and a relentless campaign of hunting, trapping, and poisoning began. For over a century, the thylacine was pursued without mercy. Its habitat was fragmented by farming and logging. Its prey base dwindled, and it was pushed into smaller and more remote corners of the island. It was a slow, agonizing slide towards extinction, driven by a fundamental lack of understanding and respect for the natural world. We failed to see its intrinsic value. We failed to recognize our own impact. And by the time we finally realized the catastrophic mistake we were making, the last echoes of the thylacine's call had already faded into silence. The empty cage of Benjamin stands as a powerful and somber monument to our failure. It's a ghost that haunts our collective conscience, a reminder of what happens when we act out of ignorance and short-sightedness. The extinction of the thylacine is not just the loss of an animal. It's the loss of a whole story, a unique strand in the intricate web of life that can never be It's a silent space in the symphony of the wild. But as we lie here, on the edge of sleep, we must not let this story fill us only with sadness or despair. We must let it be a lesson, a profound, deeply etched lesson about responsibility. The story of the Thylacine is a powerful teacher, and its echoes carry crucial wisdom for us today. It teaches us about the fragility of life and the immense power we hold in our hands. It forces us to confront the consequences of our actions and to look at the world around us with new eyes, with a deeper sense of empathy and connection. Think of the other species that stand on the brink today. The snow leopard, ghost of the mountains. The vaquita, a shy porpoise. In the Gulf of California, the Sumatran rhino, a gentle giant in dwindling forests. Each of these incredible creatures is facing its own battle for survival, often for the very same reasons the Thylacine was lost. Habitat destruction, human-wildlife conflict, and our ever-expanding footprint on the planet. But here is where the story shifts. Here is where we find hope. The loss of the Thylacine sparked a change in our consciousness. It was a wake-up call that reverberated around the world, helping to ignite the modern conservation movement. We learned the hard way that extinction is forever, and from that painful knowledge, a new sense of urgency and dedication was born. Today, there are countless passionate individuals, scientists, conservationists, and everyday people working tirelessly to protect our planet's endangered species. They are the guardians of the wild, standing on the front lines to ensure we do not repeat the mistakes of the past. They are reforesting landscapes, creating protected reserves, fighting poaching, and educating communities. They are driven by a belief that we can and must do better. They are learning from the Thylacine's ghost. They understand that conservation is not just about saving a single animal. It's about preserving entire ecosystem. It's about recognizing that every single species, from the smallest insect to the largest whale, plays a vital role in the health and stability of our world. It's about fostering a relationship with nature built on respect, not dominance. As you feel your body growing heavier, your mind becoming quieter, let this sense of hope wash over you. The world is waking up. We are beginning to understand our role not as masters of the planet, but as stewards, as caretakers. We are learning to listen to the wisdom of indigenous cultures who have lived in harmony with nature for millennia. We are developing incredible technologies to monitor and protect wildlife, to restore habitats, and to build a more sustainable future. Imagine now a new dawn. Picture the sun's first rays touching the horizon, casting a warm, golden light across a peaceful landscape. See a river winding through a lush, green valley. Hear the sound of birdsong filling the air, a chorus of life greeting the new day. This is the world we are fighting for. A world where humans and wildlife can coexist in harmony. A world where the lessons of the past guide us toward a brighter, more compassionate future. The Thylacine is gone, and we will forever carry the weight of that loss. But its spirit endures. It endures in every conservation effort, in every protected area, in every person who chooses to speak for those who have no voice. It serves as a permanent reminder of our sacred duty to protect the beauty and diversity of life on Earth. We owe it to the and to all the species that share this planet with us, to be better ancestors than we have been descendants. Let this final thought be your anchor as you drift into sleep. We are part of this magnificent web of life, not separate from it. Our actions matter. Our choices have power. And with that power comes the profound responsibility to protect and cherish the natural world. So, as you take your final deep breath of the night, release all remaining tension. Let go of the story. Let go of the thoughts. Allow the silence to envelop you. Rest in the knowledge that even from our greatest losses, we can find the strength and wisdom to build a better tomorrow. Sleep now. Sleep deeply and dream of a world reborn. A world filled with wildness, beauty, and hope. Good night.